Coming up on Mountain News this morning, one man is dead after an officer-involved shooting in Martin County. And a new report from research from the University of Kentucky is saying social distancing measures have saved hundreds of lives here in the Commonwealth.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. Your clock should be showing you that it is 6:34 on Friday, May the 1st. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning. Well, besides the fact that it's Friday, besides the fact that you've been in isolation for more than a month, you're probably having a little problems waking up this morning, and that's because, yet again, it's raining. Let's bring Brandon in this morning, give us a breakdown of what to expect. The good news is, he'll give you maybe a little teaser of it right now. This weekend should shape up to be absolutely gorgeous. Brandon, speaking of gorgeous, good morning.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate that, and right back at you. But yes, later today, yeah, I think we're going to get that sunshine out by later today, and tomorrow for sure. No issues. Let's take a look at what's going on this morning. Live pinpoint Doppler radar is quiet in most areas, but over in the Big Sandy, still active this morning. Still churning that rain and some heavier bands going through most of Pike County, Martin County, Floyd County, and then even drifted back to the west there into parts of Perry, Letcher, and even Harlan counties this morning. So we're continuing to watch that over into southwest Virginia and southern West Virginia as well. Some limited visibility in areas where the rain is the heaviest there. Logan and Y starting to see some limited visibility, some fog trying to build in there. Temperatures in the 40s area wide this morning, and we are headed for a normal day on the coffee meter, just a little bit extra just because of the dreary conditions in some areas, but we are headed for 62 later today. And again, we're going to see conditions improve as we get deeper today. It may take all the way into the afternoon or evening hours, but the skies will clear later today. I'll have the rest of the forecast in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, we continue to cover a heartbreaking story out of Bath County. Kentucky State Police say 5 children in an Amish family were swept away on Wednesday after trying to cross a flooded road in their carriage. It happened near the Salt Lick community. 4 of the children have been found dead, and the search continues for the 5th. Yesterday, a dive team was called in. The muddy water is making the search more difficult. A neighbor tells us the Amish community has always been nice, polite, and friendly. He wants people to rally around the family. Meanwhile, in Clay County, 36-year-old Jeremy Smith was arrested and charged with the murder of Russell Knuckles. The Clay County Sheriff's Office says he severely beat Knuckles on March 13th, and later he died from those injuries at UK Medical Center. WYMT's Emily Bennett talked to his daughters, who say they just want to know why.
One phone call changing Natasha Knuckles' life forever.
She just kind of dropped her head and said, "Tasha, there's been an accident. Your dad's in the hospital."
Police say her dad, Russell Knuckles, was severely beaten.
It's like his eyes were like knocked out of his head, basically.
At this home on March 13th.
He could squeeze my hand, but no communication verbally. Wasn't opening his eyes or anything.
Things were looking up for Russell until a brain bleed rupture just days later.
And I was called and told that I needed to come back because they had to do emergency brain surgery on him, and he took a turn for the worse.
Hope Perks is Russell's daughter, but she only knew him for 8 years, growing up without him and then finding him through Facebook.
That moment that I found my dad and my dad said my name, all the love in my heart was different.
But 8 years of memories is all she has, as Russell was brain dead after surgery.
We had to make the decision to take him off all life support.
Now only questions remain.
Do you really mean to kill my father? What happened?
Wondering how someone could do this to their father.
It's torment because I never did get to talk to him again. Never did get a last "I love you," a last hug. I just seen him in pain.
In Clay County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, DNA and blood evidence has been sent to the lab, but because of COVID-19, the results are taking longer to process. Meanwhile, one man is dead after an officer-involved shooting that followed an early morning police chase in Martin County yesterday. On Wednesday, the Richmond County, Ohio Sheriff's Department reached out to Kentucky State Police about a man they were looking for. He was found in Johnson County overnight and led police through the Spring Knob area near the Martin County line. This is where he barricaded himself in his van at around 3 in the morning.
He was armed, had a handgun, and he had told our dispatchers that he was armed and had several loaded weapons in the truck. At some point during the negotiations, shots were fired, and the subject is now deceased because of the shots.
Troopers say no other people were harmed in the incident. The name of the man has not been released. We told you earlier this week about a stolen truck from Walters Mazda Mitsubishi in Pike County. We learned yesterday that a couple saw our story and called the dealership. They found the truck at the Dewey Lake Dam. Police still need your help finding the person who stole the truck. The power of local media, that's for sure. Well, yesterday we learned a former federal prosecutor filed a civil rights complaint with the U.S. Attorney against Elkhorn City Police Chief Bobby Sexton. The Herald Leader reports the complaint stems from 2 citations Sexton issued against 2 people who reportedly failed to comply with social distancing rules at a Dollar General. A spokeswoman for the U.S. Attorney's Office said they are reviewing the complaint but could not provide further details to the paper. Well, is social distancing working? A new study by the Institute for the Study of Free Enterprise at the University of Kentucky says yes. The study shows without the state-enforced social distancing guidelines, we could have seen more than 40,000 COVID-19 cases and 2,000 deaths. The study looked at the 4 types of restrictions, which include the closing of public schools, entertainment establishments, banning large gatherings, and healthy-at-home orders.
By April 25th, which is the last day we had data on, that without any of those restrictions, that the number of cases in Kentucky would have been well over 40,000. If you project that to number of deaths, based on what we've observed in terms of the death rate so far, you'd get around 2,000 deaths.
If you would like to read the study, we have a link on our website over at WYMT.com. Well, one of the biggest day of many people's lives is their wedding day, and many are seeing that big day being impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. The couples, wedding planners, and event venues continue to work together to come up with a plan to keep couples walking down the aisle. Nicole Schaus, owner of the Perfect Place event venue, says this task can be difficult.
Count a bride, a groom, the officiant, the photographer. There's 4 guests right there. If you're saying only 10's allowed to be here, by the time you do a maid of honor, a groomsman, or a best man, and then their parents, that's 10 people.
Schaus says her event space is going to implement social distancing by using more of their properties, spreading out church pews for ceremonies, and tables for receptions.
All right, time now for our Helpers and Heroes segment, our daily segment that we showcase folks who are out there on the front lines and making a difference in our community. Let's go to our first picture this morning, and this was submitted by Brandy Caudle. It's a group of unsung heroes from Harlan Independent Schools. These ladies work in the cafeteria. While school may be out, these folks and many others continue to make sure that meals for students are being provided and for others in the community as well, and you all are definitely appreciated. Next, Brenda K. Johnson, a proud mom, sent us this picture of her son, a firefighter and EMT. Mickey Bentley works for the Pikeville Fire Department in his dual role. We salute all of our first responders who are not only dealing with the outbreak, but the everyday calls that continue to come in. And finally today, my friend Betsy Clemens submitted this picture of our mutual friend, Allison Baker. Allison works at the ARH Pharmacy in Hazard and delivers needed medicines to folks so they can stay healthy at home. We've all heard that old saying, it takes a village, and this is definitely the time that is the case. So, of course, we just showed you some more of our folks. We have had over 200 responses, 200 pictures posted on the Helpers and Heroes page at WYMT.com. So please keep those coming. Make sure that you put where you're from, where the person's from rather, and who they are, and a description tells their story so we can share it with them. You can find all that on WYMT.com. Will?
All righty, Brandon, we thank all of those people and the many who have been submitting names and applications and everything. We definitely need that bright light in this dark time for sure. Well, thank you for joining us right here on Mountain News this morning. Still to go. As horse racing readies to reopen later this month, officials at Keeneland talked about what that looks like for them.